Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
KPRC-TV, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Voice check, 1098-109.
We have you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the space station.
Oh, my goodness. What a treat. Okay, so joining us now from the International Space Station, Expedition 46 Commander Scott Kelly and flight engineers Tim Kopra and Tim Peake. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Well, I just saw your Christmas message, and I heard that you're orbiting the Earth 16 times Christmas Day. What are your plans for New Year's?
Yeah, we're going to orbit the Earth 16 times on New Year's too, and but all kidding aside, we're going to, we'll try to celebrate a little bit. We have New Year's Day off, although it's not your typical New Year's Eve like you might experience on Earth. We still will, reflect on the privilege of being up here and all we have back at home.
Right. Okay, so I know that when we hit 2016 that you have maybe about 3 more months until you complete your year in space. What does this mean for space exploration and travel to Mars?
Well, I hope we learn some things from this flight that will help us get to Mars. There are some challenges, not only with the primary reason that Misha and I are here with, which is, understanding, the changes that occur in our own physiology, but also, how to support crew members, whether it's psychologically or with the life support systems here for an extended period of time. So, when we do go to Mars someday, and we will, I'm not sure exactly when, but when we do, I hope that I can say and NASA can say that this mission, this year in space that Misha and I have spent has been, helped a little bit in getting us there.
Okay, Tim, this question is for you. What are some of the most difficult things, I guess, that in space that we take for granted here on Earth?
Living in zero gravity is both a blessing and a curse. I mean, it's a lot of fun to be in zero gravity, but it makes it more difficult to keep track of your things. You have to be very diligent in where you leave things, and typically if you put something on a table back home, it's not going to float away. So you have to be very diligent about that. And also, we have to be very conscious that the space station is our environment, and all the equipment we have on board sustains our lives. So you have to be very careful to make sure that we keep things in good operating order.
And has this mission, has it changed your perspective on creation, on science, just on life in general?
Well, one thing that I have learned from this experience so far, and actually, more so from being a part of the space station program, a space station that was built by many nations in a very extreme environment and has been occupied for the last 15 years and operated very successfully, is that there is, I think, very little limit to what people are capable of doing if they, they put their minds to it and they work together in a very cooperative way. And, I just think this program has been a great example of what we can do in an international collaborative effort to, better, our own lives and, improve the human condition and, someday hopefully get us to Mars and maybe even beyond.
That is excellent. I spoke to some elementary, middle school, and high school students, and they wanted to know what you guys do for water, and then how do you guys sleep? What do you sleep in?
Well, that's a great question. And the one great thing about the space station is the recycling. And, you know, we're trying to make attempts to have 100% closed cycle, which is what we're going to need on a future Mars trip. So we recycle all of the condensation from when we exercise. We recycle the vast majority of our urine, and it's all turned back into drinking water. So that is how we're sustained with water up here. In terms of sleeping, it's really up to the individual astronaut. I've only been here for 2 weeks now, but I find that I like to just kind of zip up my sleeping bag and just float inside the crew quarters. They're not very big, so it's not like you're going to go very far.
Oh, wow. And I've seen you guys do some somersaults, some backflips. One elementary school student wanted to know, how many backflips can you guys do? And can
Scott's the expert.
I can do a lot, but I've been up here a long time.
I love it. Okay, Scott, and then also you tweeted back in August that your favorite team was the Houston Texans. I wanted to know, is Houston still your favorite team? You know, we just beat the Titans.
Of course. How can you ask that question? I'm from Houston, and I was watching the game yesterday. That was pretty awesome to see that. Hopefully next weekend we'll secure a spot in the playoffs. So pretty excited to see how this season has gone from pretty kind of scary in the beginning to something that is turned around into a success story.
Yeah, pretty out of this world, I guess some might say. You know, some people grow up dreaming of becoming an astronaut after spending almost a year in space and witnessing sunsets at about 240 miles above Earth. What are your dreams like?
So, I guess I'm not sure if you're referring to my real dreams or just my dreams for the future. Kind of in more of a conceptual way, but as far as dreams while I'm sleeping up here, I have sometimes I have Earth dreams and sometimes space dreams. And when I first got up here, and the reason I know this is because I was writing them down for a while, and it kind of helped me remember. Because when I was up here last time, people asked me that question, and I couldn't remember whether I dreamed of Earth or space. But I do both, and now it's more Earth related. But as far as my dreams for what I want after I get back from this flight, those kind of things, you do have a unique perspective up here. It's this one of my colleagues described it as the orbital perspective, a little bit different perspective on Earth when you realize, hey, everything that's basically ever existed, that we know, we love, people, history, it's right down there. And it, 250 miles below us. And it does give you a sense for, this more of a stewardship for the planet, how, we need to learn to work together better because we are all, members of Team Earth down there. And, we just need to get along. So my dreams would be that we do just that. We take care of ourselves, each other better. We take care of the planet better. And, that's what I hope for.
Incredibly insightful. Scott Kelly, Tim Kopra, and Tim Peake, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Happy New Year.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the KPRC-TV portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from KHOU-TV.
Station, this is KHOU-TV. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear.
Commander Scott Kelly, along with flight engineers Tim Kopra and Tim Peake, from the International Space Station. Not every day we get your undivided attention, so gentlemen, thank you.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
So I have to ask you, from Astronaut Peake's Twitter page, I see that Santa paid you a visit. What did he bring you guys?
Well, you know, we're very fortunate. We have the benefit of a small allowance of crew care package. So really it was just some photographs and notes and letters from friends and family, all wishing us well on Christmas, and also a couple of extra food treats as well. So I had some fudge sent up from Scotland.
Oh, lovely. Commander Kelly, I know this is your third Christmas in space. Was Santa nice to you? What did you guys have for your Christmas dinner?
Well, Santa, I guess, was nice because I did get something. And our Christmas dinner was, you know, we don't have special food sent up here for the holidays, unfortunately. So it was really just what we could kind of scavenge. Although Tim did have some foie gras, which was really good, which I guess was special. But you know, generally it's just our normal menu, and we kind of get the things out of it that sort of seem like you know, holiday food, like the turkey cold cuts and some cornbread stuffing, things like that. It's not bad though.
Foie gras is pretty fancy, yeah. Mr. Kopra, you just arrived, and then 6 days later you were forced to do the spacewalk. Have you gotten any rest at all?
You know, actually, I wouldn't term it as being forced to do it because, you know, it's one of the highlights of any time that we're able to have a trip to space, to be able to do a spacewalk. And we actually had a pretty busy first couple of weeks, but then Christmas was off and the weekend was mostly off, so we've had time to recover. And Tim Peake and I will be preparing for another spacewalk here coming up in a couple of weeks.
You guys see Earth from such a different point of view. Has your perspective from outer space influenced your belief system, politics, feelings about the environment? I'll start with Commander Kelly.
Well, you know, it does, and one of our colleagues described it as, like you said, this orbital perspective where, you know, everybody, every person that's ever lived, every thing that's basically ever happened, minus a few, have occurred 250 miles below us. And you know, when we look out at the Earth, we see an atmosphere that looks very fragile. We see, you know, lately, like on this flight, I've noticed a lot of, you know, weather systems and weather phenomena that occur that you wouldn't expect to see in certain areas. You know, you see deforestation, you see wildfires, you see smog over certain parts of the world that, you know, is there practically continuously. So it does give you this, you know, a sense that we need to take care of the Earth because, you know, it's the, you know, it's the only thing that's keeping everyone down there alive. And, you know, and it does look like we are all part of one big, you know, big team, you know, one country. There are no political borders when you look down at the planet. So it does give you the sense that we need to kind of treat each other better, take care of each other. I follow the news very closely up here, and it's mostly bad all the time, and it's all happening right down there. So it does give you a little bit different perspective.
Yeah, same question to you, Tim, Mr. Peake and Mr. Kopra.
I think really just to back up what Scott said there, it is a unique perspective. It's a unique view. It's incredibly stunning, incredibly beautiful. The first thing that struck me when I saw the Earth from space was just how tiny and fragile our atmosphere is. It's the thinnest band surrounding planet Earth, and it makes you realize that you know, we really do need to take care of our fragile atmosphere. And I think it kind of gives you that perspective of seeing the Earth, you know, as a whole planet with interconnected weather systems and water systems and a real respect for the environment.
It's really hard to add much to that, but I think one thing that is very striking to astronauts when you come up here is not just the Earth, but how black it is in space. And so we recognize that what we have is what we have, and beyond that is our vast distances to the next planet or even the next celestial body. So we need to do our part to take care of our planet.
Commander Kelly, I know you're on day 276 in space. You've broken a record. What has that amount of time and space done to your body that you've noticed, and also, most importantly, your psyche?
You know, a lot of the data we're collecting is stuff that is, via blood draws and other samples, imaging data. The science that's involved in this one-year stay is looking at me on a genetic level, our bone loss, muscle loss or gain in some cases, and effects on our immune system, and like you said, your psyche from a psychological perspective. So a lot of that data is not something that you can see. It's something that's measured in a laboratory, and in some cases will be not even written about or analyzed until I get back. So there are some changes you notice. We exercise a lot, so you notice muscle gain in certain areas and loss in other areas. We don't walk, so your calves get kind of small from not having to support your weight and walk around for a while. From a psychological perspective, I'm doing fine. I'll have no problem making it to the end of this experience. Although I do feel like I've lived my whole life up here now, and look forward to getting home someday.
You will be home very soon in March. What is the first thing you're going to eat when you come back to Houston?
It's a good question. I haven't thought that far yet. I'm not counting down the days yet, so I'll let you know, though, when I figure that one out.
The answer is Tex-Mex, Commander Kelly. Tex-Mex.
Okay.
Mr. Peake, there's a funny story of you calling the wrong number from the International Space Station. Did the person know who you were, and what did they say to you?
No, they didn't know who I was. I blame that on my Excel spreadsheet. It had a rounding error, but that's my story anyway. And yeah, I spoke to this lady, and before I could explain myself, she thought I was just a sort of drunk Christmas Eve reveler, so she put the phone down on me. But I know that she's been subsequently tracked down, and the story has been explained to her.
That's hilarious. I bet she regrets not keeping you on the phone there. One last question, because I know you guys have to go. What are your plans for New Year's Day, and do you make New Year's resolutions, gentlemen?
Well, New Year's Day, we have a day off, so my plan is to rest, and I generally don't make New Year's resolutions. I'll let Tim answer that, too.
I'd have to say we're probably too busy to be thinking about New Year's resolutions. We have a lot of work to do up here, and along with what Scott said, it's going to be a day to relax and spend some time with our crewmates.
Mr. Peake?
I'm in the same boat as Tim and Scott there. I don't really make New Year's resolutions, but I'll certainly be enjoying New Year's Eve. I want to take some time out to go to the cupola, look down on planet Earth, and think about everybody who's celebrating New Year's Eve as we pass around all those cities in the world. I think it's an incredibly unique perspective to enjoy New Year's Eve.
From everybody here at KHOU, we wish you the best and Happy New Year to all of you, gentlemen. Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. It's our pleasure.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you, KPRC-TV and KHOU-TV. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.